It's ultra MAGA. That's what we prefer.
This is Lauren Boebert getting into it with Jamie Raskin. As you could hear there, she prefers the term ultra MAGA rather than MAGA, which, by the way, is the name that was designated to Trump supporters who consider themselves domestic terrorists. That's the domestic terrorist wing of the MAGA movement. So I'm kind of surprised she's embracing that term, but okay. I guess if you want to be a domestic terrorist, so be it. She actually, let me give you the context behind this argument. She got into it with Jamie Raskin over pronunciation of the term Democrat or Democratic. I actually learned about this not too long ago. I feel like it's a little bit pedantic, but to be grammatically correct, actually, the name of the party is the Democratic Party, not the Democrat Party. That'd be like calling it the Republic Party rather than the Republican Party, apparently. So Jamie Raskin basically just said, you know, technically it's the Democratic Party, not the Democrat Party, and she decided to correct him with that. Listen to what she had to say here.
You know, we are addressed as MAGA extremists, extreme MAGA Republicans, and I would like to make just a clarification point. It's ultra MAGA. That's what we prefer.
Yeah, again, that's the terrorist wing of the MAGA movement. I can't believe she decided to identify that way. Check out what Raskin had to say in response.
By the way, she took the opportunity to raise the whole question of MAGA, which I had not mentioned, and she said, and when you call me MAGA, don't call me MAGA, call me ultra MAGA. So when the minority leader referred to the extreme MAGA element, which appears to be driving the train over there, he should have called it the ultra MAGA element out of deference to the gentlelady from Colorado, and I certainly will be able to honor her wishes in the future as she chooses to be described as ultra MAGA.
That's funny, man. That honestly, that seems like a win to me, a political win. Ultra MAGA is the extremist wing, and Boebert decided to take the mantle on her own shoulders. Why? You got me. Well, anyway, the reason that I'm talking about this right now is because I got a voicemail about it. Let's listen and see what they had to say.
Hello, Owen. This is Ron of Tennessee again. And I was watching Lauren Boebert give her little speech at the House. And I've always been wondering what could be a good acronym for MEGA. And I finally realized from watching her it'd be Mad, Absurd, Goofy Americans.
Mad, Absurd, Goofy Americans, MAGA. Yeah, that checks out. Ultra, Mad, Absurd, Goofy Americans.
Now remember, I told it to you first now, so if somebody wants to use it, you know, here's my evidence. But thank you.
You heard it from Ron first.
Very much. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. It's pretty interesting. Honestly, I just can't. She's an absurd human being. She's a deeply terrible person, too. Like, there are clips in my clip archive of her that are just depraved, dude. Tell me which video is worse from Lauren Boebert. Is it this video?
Maybe we need to have some sort of legislation that requires Constitution alive and biblical citizenship training in our schools. And that's how we get things turned around.
Is it the biblical citizenship tests that she wants to institute? Is that video worse? Or is it this video where she talks about Ilhan Omar? This is deep lore. This is from late November 2021.
We're going back to my office and we get in the elevator and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face and he's reaching and I'm like, what? The door's shutting. Like I can't open it. Like what's happening? I look to my left and there she is. Ilhan Omar. Oops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine.
Which one is worse? Tell me in the comments which one is worse. The one where she pretends that all Muslims are terrorists, or the one where she admits to being a terrorist, or the one where she says she wants everybody else to be terrorists by taking biblical citizenship tests and forcing people to pass them, or not be citizens of the United States, I guess. Tell me which you think is worse.
Hey, Owen, this is Jeremy from Utah. Been listening for a while and a question popped in my head. why are cult leaders such dirtbags? I don't mean alleged crimes. I mean verifiable proof of their awfulness. And a second question on top of that, why do their followers so adamantly defend the cult leader and ignore the proof-positive evidence of their corruption? Thanks for taking my call. Have a great day.
Interesting question. Let me tell you why cult leaders tend to be such dirtbags. It's the same reason why politicians tend to be dirtbags. There's a lot of power that comes along with controlling a group of people the way that politicians and cult leaders do. There's a lot of power that comes along with it. A lot of power, a lot of influence, a lot of money that's available to anybody who's willing to do it. But you have to use unethical practices to be a cult leader, right? Like, think about how, for example, Andrew Tate got all of his money. Think about if this is something that you personally, you would be willing to do. He manipulates innocent, unsuspecting women into becoming his girlfriend. Through the lover boy method, he convinces them to do some basic cam modeling stuff. You can do it with your clothes on. All you have to do is just flirt with people on a camera, and nobody will touch you. Nobody will see you naked or any of that stuff. It's no big deal. And we'll both make money together. It's because we love each other that we get to do this and make money for each other, right? Little bit of time passes, and he pushes you to maybe take some of your clothes off for this client that's asking. He says he's going to give you $1,000 if you do this, right? He pushes you into doing these things, breaking down your boundaries, and you're doing it because you love him, because you care for him, because you want to help him. Would you do something like that? That is how Andrew Tate took advantage of people around him to get rich. That's human trafficking, what he did. Now, cults basically do that exact same thing, religious cults. Same in every way, practically, except it's legal because it's protected by religious belief. Religions and cults are the only sector of society where unethical scumbags can take advantage of people legally and not go to jail for it most of the time. You have to try really, really hard to break enough laws that they'll put you in jail for your religious beliefs. And if they do end up convicting you of crimes that you did against your congregation, you know you have that shield of religious liberty to protect you in the end. Not only is it a draw for people to have that kind of power and authority over other people and influence and money that comes along with it, but it's also a shield from liability. It's a protection from being prosecuted. So the reason that cult leaders are dirtbags is because religion is uniquely protected from prosecution, and scumbags know that, and they use it to their advantage. Generally speaking, that's why, in my opinion. The things that cults do to people would be illegal in any other context. And you have to do some really messed up stuff to people if you want to be a cult leader, if you want to make any money with it. Like, look at what Kenneth Copeland does for a living. He convinces people that it's a religious obligation to give him their money. Every penny of it. Every penny. Like this guy telling the story about taking every penny that this woman had. So he's telling a story about a woman who lived in a mental institution and didn't have a penny to her name and didn't have food for the following week, right? She had $78.35 in her wallet, and she needed it for food. And she didn't have a car. She didn't have anything.
And she says, I need some money.
She came to the church and asked this guy for money. This is a Kenneth Copeland affiliate, by the way, a fellow prosperity preacher.
And I had just taught on this passage of Scripture that I shared with you. So I said, what do you have? And she made the connection. She knew what I was going to do. So she went and got her purse, and she had a little coin purse, and she counted it out, and it was something like $78.35, something like that. And I said, give it to me. And she said, all of it? And I said, all of it. And I took my hands like this, and I took every penny that woman had. She said that she wasn't going to get paid for a week, and she didn't have groceries. And I said, give me all of it.
Now, this story he's telling, it ends with him saying she miraculously received a car the next week from somebody who was uninvolved in the situation, as if a car is going to feed her. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that these people have to do unethical, disgusting, immoral things to get rich. Stuff that you wouldn't do because it's immoral and grotesque. You know, I could be rich tomorrow. It would be that quick. I have a route to do it tomorrow. All I would have to do is start selling supplements. I get emails from supplement companies every single week asking me to sell their diet pills and their whatever other garbage they have to sell. Their, toxic cleanse something or other. You know how much they want to pay me? They're willing to pay me $1,500 per video. I could release one sponsored ad for them, $1,500, 8 times per month on my main channel. $1,500, 8 times per month. This is $12,000 per month. $12,000 a month. Not a year, a month that I could make if I responded to these emails about supplements they want me to sell. I have a route to be rich now. But people like us won't do that shit because it's unethical and disgusting and wrong. The people in positions of authority, like Andrew Womack and, Jim Jones, Marshall Applewhite from Heaven's Gate, the Heaven's Gate cult, and even Andrew Tate, they were willing to do these unethical things. They were willing to manipulate people, to take advantage of them, to twist things around and take money from them and convince the people in their lives to do something that was detrimental to them but helpful to the leader, the cult leader. They were willing to sell out their morals if they ever had any so that they could get rich. That's why they're in those positions of authority. That's why they're there. Because they realize that they can make money this way, and they see that route, and they know no one else is going to take it except for the immoral. That's why cult leaders are dirtbags. That's why televangelists are dirtbags. Anyway, thank you for the voicemail. There's another thing I could do to get rich tomorrow. It isn't just selling supplements. I could come out as Christian tomorrow. I mean, Young Earth Creationist. If I came out as Young Earth Creationist tomorrow, released a video about it, and said atheists are wrong and all this other stuff, I would be filthy rich. Do you know how many people would parade me around on their shoulders? Kent Hovind, Ray Comfort, Kirk Cameron. Hell, I might get to even meet Donald Trump. All the while doing a right-wing media tour and making massive amounts of money. I could be rich tomorrow, not just through sponsorships, but by taking advantage of the right-wing echo chamber. Instantly, I would be filthy rich. I would get obscene amounts of donations from right-wing nutcases who want to help my cause and love what I'm doing for America and view me as a real patriot and all of that shit. But I can't, because it goes against my moral values. It's simply disgusting to do something like that. I could not possibly force myself to do something that morally depraved. But Andrew Womack can. Kenneth Copeland can. Andrew Tate can. Jim Jones can. That's why they're in those positions in the first place, because they were willing to do those deeply immoral, disgusting things when no one else was. By the way, I have a website. I don't know if you guys were aware of this. My videos release way, way early on my website. In fact, there are videos like up here right now that won't release for like 3 weeks. So if you guys want to check out my website, get early access to my content. Some of it is ad-free. Some of it is unedited, uncensored, complete. So you can check that out. While you're there, just hit the Contact Me button in the top right corner there. It'll take you to this page. You can send me a message. And I wanted to read a message, as a matter of fact, from some of the people that contacted me. Here's a question from Curtis. Could the governing body know that the individual was going to step down? That's why they brought in new members to fill the position. I'm not familiar with JW, so this is just a guess. Yeah, let me fill you in on some of the context here. So a governing body member, Jehovah's Witnesses, stepped down not too long ago. Or, I'm sorry, didn't step down. Was fired, presumably. Honestly, we have very little information about why he's no longer a governing body member, but nobody seems to think that it was willing, because this has only ever really happened a total of maybe twice before this event. I think the last one was in like 1980 or something. You're talking 50 years ago, dude. This has been a long time ago, right? So this governing body member, Tony Morris, the new one that was just removed from the governing body, it was really interesting timing because another governing body, or two other governing body members were added to the governing body, which is, it kind of throws a wrench into their whole belief system because they think the end is going to be here within the next 20 years. If the end isn't here within the next 20 years, the whole religion's going to have to rework their entire belief system. Their whole foundation is built upon the idea that the end is going to come within the generation that was alive to see the events that took place in 1914. It's a complicated thing. But the fact that they added two governing body members not that long ago was really interesting timing, to say the least. So the listener says, could the governing body know that Tony Morris, the guy that was kicked off, was going to step down? That's why they brought in new members to fill the position. That's a good question. It's so hard to know for sure exactly what happened. It is so easy to speculate. Apparently, the governing body makes decisions on a 2/3 majority. So any major decisions they make, 2/3 of them have to vote on it, basically. Well, previously, there were 8 governing body members. By adding 2 new ones, there were 10. And then Tony Morris was removed from the governing body. So there is a speculative conspiracy theory floating around that maybe they added those 2 new governing body members so that they could have enough votes to remove Tony Morris, because he wasn't going to go willingly and he had powerful backers. I mean, who knows? It's so interesting to speculate, though, but it's important to know that it is all speculation. I got a little bit of an adversarial voicemail or contact from somebody. I got email. Got an adversarial email from somebody I wanted to read to try to set the record straight. So here's the email. Let me read it to you. It's from Elizabeth. Hello. I really enjoy your content. However, you recently made a comment that was both harmful and expressed a stereotype. Okay, that's something I definitely don't want to do. I tried to address it in the comments, but I'm not sure if it was erased or if I just can't remember which video I commented on. In that video, I don't erase comments unless they have links or unless it's blatant straight propaganda and I don't have the time to debunk it. So it has not been erased. In that video, you stated that letting people out of institutions should be illegal. I did not state that. That was in a live stream, I think, and I don't believe that people should not be allowed out of institutions. I don't know how anybody could come to the conclusion that I would believe something like that. What I actually said was, it should be illegal to allow somebody a day pass to exit an institution to go to somewhere predatory like a televangelist's church. I was actually talking about Andrew Womack. He was telling a story about a woman leaving an institution, getting a day pass, to go to his prosperity gospel church where he took her very last penny. That is very obviously predatory, and that is what you can expect from evangelicals and prosperity gospel preachers like Andrew Womack. It should be illegal to allow somebody who is dealing with a mental condition, i.e. the most vulnerable among us and most susceptible to emotional manipulation. It should be illegal for anybody to allow them out of a mental institution, which obviously they're in their most vulnerable state in that moment, to go to a predator like this guy. That's what I actually said. Of course, I don't think that people should not be allowed out of institutions. I would never say something like that. I certainly don't believe something like that. That comment is both harmful and erroneous. I believe you said it out of ignorance rather than bigotry. To explain, there are various types and levels of care. Yes, there are facilities where the doors are locked and the patients are not allowed out. But there are also places where the doors are open. So long as you comply with treatment, you are free to come and go. I've been in a locked unit before. Okay, I think that the story that this guy was telling was probably completely fabricated. But in his fabricated story, this person was allowed a day pass to exit the facility. I've been in a locked unit before, but I now have a facility where I can come and go within reason. The stereotypes around the mentally ill are so detrimental to treatment. The goal of all treatment is to get to the lowest level of care. I enjoy your content. I just wanted to inform. I appreciate that. Yes, I have a degree in substance abuse counseling, so I have dealt with addiction and mental health my entire life. I've dealt with it personally, and I've dealt with it, with other people too. So I totally understand, but that is not what I believe. I just want to put that clearly on record. Owen, listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Me, do we have to? Right? Exactly. Oh, dude, she is crazy. Especially this video. I've never actually played this clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene before. This came out late May 2021. And she said some absolutely unhinged stuff. She actually, what would you call it, prophesied or predicted, or I don't know what you'd call it, but it was wrong. Listen to this.
Be required to have something called a COVID passport, and this would mandate your ability to be able to travel, your ability to be able to go to events, your ability to be able to buy and sell.
Of course, this never happened. There was never any COVID passport or anything like that. Now, there were some vaccine cards that you had to show if you wanted to enter private establishments. You couldn't dine in for dine-in restaurants, but you could eat outside if you wanted. At no point ever were you banned from going to grocery stores or buying and selling or any of that other garbage, like she's saying. It's completely made up, all of it.
Question earlier today, is this something like Biden's mark of the beast? Because that is really disturbing and not good. Oh, if you're going to come into the football game or the baseball game or the concert, you need your vaccine passport because we're trying to do a good job to keep everyone safe.
It's a vaccine card, and yeah, you needed a vaccine card for a short time because private businesses requested it. Now, if you want to watch that football game on the TV, feel free, but you're putting other people's lives at risk. This is how it works. This is how it's always worked. Since vaccines were invented, people were required to get vaccines or stay home or be careful or wear masks or whatever other thing. There were a billion requirements during the Spanish flu era.
This is what the Biden administration is trying to talk to these private companies into doing. Well, let's analyze that. You see, it's...
Wait, what's she talking about? Did Biden ever try to talk companies into... Why would Biden try to talk companies into doing everything or anything? Couldn't he just pass a law that makes it so that you're required to show your vaccine card? When did he try to talk any companies into doing this?
Still the same thing. It's still fascism or communism, whatever you want to call it, but it's coming from private companies. So I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
This is ridiculous on levels that she doesn't even understand. Anyway, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. God, she's terrible.